The room went silent the moment she spoke. A maid, in a room full of powerful businessmen, translating words no one else could understand. The millionaire who had just laughed at her slowly stood up, his smile fading. Because in that moment, everything he thought he knew was proven wrong. And no one could have imagined what would happen next. Setup, introducing characters. Every morning before sunrise, Maria would quietly enter the grand mansion. She wore the same simple uniform every day, her shoes slightly worn, her hands always busy. To most people, she was invisible. "Maria, clean the dining room first," the house manager would say without even looking at her. "Yes, ma'am," Maria would reply softly. She never complained. She never asked for more. But what no one knew was that Maria carried a past much bigger than the house she cleaned. The mansion belonged to Mr. Daniel Carter, a self-made millionaire known for his sharp business mind and even sharper tongue. He believed in success, power, and efficiency. Kindness wasn't something he thought about often. "People earn their place in life," he would say. Simple as that. And in his eyes, Maria had earned hers. At the very bottom. Conflict, the misunderstanding and challenge. One afternoon, an important meeting was arranged in the mansion. A group of international investors had arrived, discussing a major deal that could multiply Mr. Carter's wealth. Everything was going smoothly until one of the guests began speaking in a language no one else understood. The room fell into confusion. "What did he say?" Mr. Carter asked, slightly annoyed. No one answered. The translator they had hired hadn't arrived yet. The investor repeated himself, this time slower, but still. No one understood. Frustration grew. Mr. Carter sighed. "This is ridiculous. We're wasting time." At that exact moment, Maria walked in quietly with a tray of tea. She paused. She listened, and for a brief second, something changed in her eyes. She understood every word, but she hesitated. She looked around the room, filled with suits, confidence, and power, and then down at her simple uniform. Before she could say anything, one of the men joked, "Well, unless your maid speaks it." The room chuckled. Mr. Carter smirked. "Translate this and my salary is yours," he said mockingly, glancing at Maria. The laughter grew louder. Maria stood still. Her heart was racing. Then, in a calm voice, she said, "I can translate." The room froze. Twist/realization, the turning point. At first, no one believed her. Mr. Carter raised an eyebrow. "You?" he said, half amused. "Go on then." Maria took a slow breath. Then she turned toward the investor and began to speak fluently. Her voice was steady, clear, confident. Every word she translated carried meaning, precision, and grace. The investor's face lit up in surprise. He responded quickly, now excited, and Maria translated again without hesitation. The room fell into complete silence. No laughter, no whispers, just shock. Mr. Carter's expression changed. The woman he had barely noticed was now holding the entire meeting together. Minutes passed. What could have been a failed deal turned into a successful agreement. When it was over, the investor smiled warmly at Maria and said something in his language. Maria paused, then translated softly. He says, he has never seen someone so humble and so gifted at the same time. The room erupted, not in laughter this time, but in quiet awe. Mr. Carter stood up slowly. He looked at Maria, really looked at her, for the first time. "Where did you learn that?" he asked, his voice no longer mocking. Maria lowered her eyes slightly. "I studied languages in university," she said gently. "I had a scholarship, but I had to leave when my father got sick." The room grew still again. I needed work, so I took the only job I could find. There was no bitterness in her voice, just truth, resolution, kindness, and change. Mr. Carter walked toward her. For a moment, no one spoke. Then he said something no one expected. "I owe you an apology." Maria looked up, surprised. "I judged you without knowing your story," he continued. "And today you saved something very important." He paused, then added with a small smile, "And I did say, my salary is yours." A few people chuckled softly, but Mr. Carter shook his head. "I meant what I said, not as a joke anymore." Maria quickly shook her head. "No, sir, I didn't do it for money." Her words were simple, but they carried weight. Mr. Carter nodded slowly. "I know," he said. "That's exactly why you deserve more." A few days later, everything changed. Maria was no longer the maid no one noticed. She was offered a position in the company, not out of pity, but respect. A role where her skills, her intelligence, and her quiet strength could finally be seen. But what truly changed wasn't just Maria's life. It was Mr. Carter. He began to greet every worker in his home. He started listening more, judging less, because he had learned something that day, something no business deal could teach. That greatness doesn't always wear a suit, and talent doesn't always stand in the spotlight. Sometimes, it quietly carries a tray, waiting to be seen. Closing reflection. Maria didn't become successful overnight, and she didn't need recognition to prove her worth. All she needed was one moment, one chance, and she took it, not with pride, but with courage. Because sometimes, the world overlooks the very people who have the most to offer. And sometimes, all it takes is a little kindness to finally see them